Okay, let's check out something more interesting. I'm actually getting hungry in here. Yeah, let's just check out this real quick. You wouldn't survive 2000s gaming. You know what? I did. Well, like it was really something else. Like for real. Like it was really for something, someone else, and for something else. All right. Okay.
What is the best year?
Okay.
In the early 2000s, the world of gaming was almost completely different. There were no day one patches, no digital stores for a bit, and no algorithm recommending what to get into next. Just CDs, cartridges, and hope. If your game didn't work, that usually was it. You either took it back to the store if you got it from somewhere like Blockbuster or EB.
Remember the red ring? Remember the red ring on the fucking like X 360? Yeah, I know. Although, like I had problems where like I bought a game and it's not a game that I like, and I noticed like by just like you ever like back then buying a game, you don't know what it is. You just look at the jacket, and then you realize I fucking despise this game, and you cannot like give it back for some reason. It happened more than you think, and some people were able. So some studios were able to sell games just because they were next to good games, and basically like, well, what are gonna do? What are they gonna do? Fucking like bring the game back to the shop? And this logic actually functioned, and so like especially like during the N64 era, the PlayStation 1 era, where it's like back then you buy a game, it's like sometimes it was a complete disaster. All right, like for some reason, like it happened in the past, and it happened to me to buy a game, be happy about the game, play the game for real. I just like play a couple moments. I hate the game. I don't bring it back because I'm just a kid, and I keep the game and I hate it, and that's the story of the game that I never played.
Games, or else you just stared at the error screen in silence. Or if you were like me, you try the old toothpaste trick and pray to whatever god you believe in that you could play your cheap used game.
Is that you are going to want to let this sit on the disc and harden and fill in any scratches.
And that was normal.
This is so hopeless. This is such despair.
See, gaming back then wasn't designed to be convenient. You needed memory cards, you needed transportation, and you needed to be of age at times. And you needed that passion.
Oh yeah, by the way.
If your disc suddenly needed to be of age.
Oh yeah. By the way, do you remember when you could not buy any game because like where you were underage? Like and you needed to ask your mom or your dad to buy the game with you, or else you couldn't buy the game? I remember. If you didn't play during this era of gaming, you miss on some really, really convincing arguments to play the fucking the fucking massacre game that that you ended up like that you had to convince your parents that it's not that bad. If you'd never lived this, it's actually like it's such infancy type of gaming, like like trend that happened. Like if you didn't live this, you missed something, because like there's nothing more pathetic, like nothing more pathetic than a kid being like, let me fucking buy the game where it's where there's blood everywhere, massacres and monsters. Come on, I am a little children, let me play the game. And after many arguments, they come with you into the shop and to buy the game, and you feel like you feel like you committed a crime, you know? Like this was something.
Age at times, and you needed that passion. If your disc suddenly realized it didn't want to work anymore mid boss fight, you just sat there in disbelief, staring at your reflection on the TV like a fool. And the community and culture, oh man, it was real, loud, and in your face. Many gamers didn't have online etiquette, and in many games, your lobby was full of kids that just learned they could curse.
What's up, dude? What be going down in the hood, you know?
True.
Be sniffing that crack.
Let's not
You
try.
wanna sniff some crack with me?
Similar to what you've probably ran into during your last Marvel Rivals rank up match. When you logged in onto Halo or Call of Duty lobbies, you were stepping into verbal warfare. 50% of all insults known to mankind were probably invented there. Then there were LAN parties, arcades, midnight releases. Gaming wasn't just a hobby, it was a niche little culture. And for every fun memory, there was pain. Tangled controller wires that ended up tearing up your controller sooner or later. Corrupted memory.
Yes, the good old, oh no, the fucking like you remember when you had like your wire for your controller, and there was like a moment like during your gaming era where like you took the time to rearrange to re-smooth all the controller like cable just so it doesn't break, and it broke anyway. Remember that?
Cards, used games that barely worked, and internet speeds that made playing games online feel like you were playing underwater. And yet we all kept coming back. Let me take you back to a time when being a gamer didn't make you cool, it made you a target. When games were brutal, online was wild, and the only updates you got were cheat codes that you found out about written in a GamePro magazine.
Or in the infancy of the internet.
Everybody should be completely psyched about this. It's the PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system at Walmart. PlayStation 2 has the realism that gamers are looking for. You want to be in the game. You want to be the game. It's got CD player, DVD player, incredible graphics. You can play the old games on the system, but wait till you see the new ones. It's a whole mental body feel.
Let's start at the earliest part of the 2000s, a time when the only way to play games with other people was by actually getting up and going out to stand next to that person, at least in most games. For a lot of us,
This was something like, oh man, this brings me like so much memories.
the option to just boot up, log in, and play Street Fighter, Tekken, Smash Bros, and whatever else there was out there wasn't available until that Xbox 360 and PS3 era. This meant actually
Yeah, damn, no, like this brings me up like my first like co-op games. I finished like all the free Halos co-op. I finished Gears of War co-op. Like this was like something else, man. Like this was something else. And now we have it, we can play it, but like it's just the same. And I find it strange, it's like people don't fucking like take the time anymore to just like tell between friends, let's fucking like fucking play the game together. Like I play Borderlands together. Like so many games like back then, but like era changes, huh? But like split screen is really something that is something in the past that will stay in the past, and that if you didn't experience it, I'm sad for you. I'm sad for you, friend.
leaving the house and going to visit friends, an arcade, a gaming gathering, or even going to someone's house that you didn't like just to get a fix. And this also meant that you were susceptible to real emotions getting into the game. Listen, there were many instances where fights in the game ended up translating to fights outside of the game. Ever heard of some of the arcade fighting game rules back in the day? Stuff like don't grab multiple times in a row, being enforced with a few punches to the gut, or even knife fights over King of Fighters. Heck, you can still find classic fighting game pop-offs online from real beefs.
If this guy's talking shit, tell him to money match for any amount of money, because he's not gonna bet me.
And this stuff wasn't just limited to these competitive scenes, cause I promise you, it's happened in some of those normal homes. There's no muting or blocking like we have now online in person. So you were stuck looking at and hearing whoever was trash talking you at that LAN party.
I just got into Xbox Live. I have this really great high-speed connection, and I was playing one-on-one NFL Fever against some other players from around the country. Now my gamer tag, my online ID is Dark Master.
After we lost arcades, which were the main social ground for gaming, we had the emergence of an even more accessible battleground when the world of online gaming opened up. While there were already online shooters out in the 90s with Quake and Unreal Tournament and even some online games before that, the advent of consoles getting actual good online brought the hype to mainstream. In 2004, Xbox would
Remember Halo Forge? Just saying.
revolutionize online gaming forever with the release of Halo 2 and its Xbox Live service integration. This innovation would allow players to match up online, go to war, and hear
I started playing like Halo Online at Halo 3 and it was such a good time. God
each other
damn.
talk during the match using proximity chat. This meant no matter who you were near, you'd be hearing them in battle. To do so, you had to hit the white button on your controller and then boom, you could speak to anyone within 15 or 10 feet. This meant you had to be extra careful when speaking to allies, as your enemies could hear you too. This also
And I remember like you had like this like a thing like idols have in the microphone like this. You ever saw like the microphone like you just plug it in and you have like small microphone? Yeah, that's the one. I had this
for
one.
the first time, players were able to vocally curse out each other and say the other obscene stuff that game chats are infamous for nowadays.
Learn how to actually play the game and talk.
Shoot a gun, dog. Learn how to shoot a gun.
Riot Shield. What else you
Oh, Riot Shield. I'm a gonna use Riot Shield.
now I'm a what do you want? You tell me what you want to do.
I'm pretty sure you've all heard and been annoyed by now of the classic, "You guys wouldn't survive a day in the old Call of Duty lobbies" quote. Well, I'm here to debunk that, cause honestly, every single lobby wasn't like that. If you were really out here not surviving, some obviously 10 to 14-year-old kid calling you a slur, you might need to go outside. But I won't lie and say it didn't happen on the regular, and it didn't always come from kids. I remember being in middle school grinding Halo Reach and Halo 3, or playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops with my friends and hearing a mix of the most insane and corny roasts and word combinations of my young life. Kind of similar to the average Rivals experience. Okay, I'll stop. I'll let that game live. Especially because reading SYBAU and having the possibility of someone being banned is nothing compared to back then. Yeah, 2000s online game chats were largely unmoderated, so you know them MFs were ready to say whatever came to mind. It was a jungle of boys and men that really needed to get up and go outside. But I'll tell you now, when you found a cool group to squad up with every night from that chaos, it hit. You just had to take the suffering, the annoying guys, connect mics, and fire alarm beeps as part of the experience. Now, I will say this, it definitely was extra hard mode being a woman and wanting to speak online during gaming.
Still to this day, people cannot fucking like, this is a universe where like people fucking like get the fucking like get into a fucking like get hit in a way when they hear a feminine voice. It's like the world, like the moment, like it's just shifts from like a game to another when a girl talks in vocals. Maybe it will change. I really have no hope for this.
Because as soon as those boys heard your voice, it was legit open season on anyone with high amounts of estrogen. And you know exactly what words they were using, what slurs they were dropping, and what they were telling you to do. I'm not going into detail, you cannot make me. Just know that the higher visibility of women who enjoy gaming is a godsend that we didn't have the luxury of back then. But that's only if you could play those games online, cause let's be real, a lot of gaming and online infrastructure wasn't ready for online gaming just yet. For many homes, lag was a normal experience and those disconnects were just a bit of seasoning to keep things interesting. This went double for fighting games. You don't know what it was like playing on delay-based netcode for release year Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat X,
Or playing WoW during days where it's like it's just lagging, and you just like fucking like take the 3 seconds lag, or the 1 second lag, and you have to live with it. Ever played WoW with 1 second lag for like a session? Oh my fucking god, it's unbearable.
versus Capcom 3, and bro, don't start me on Super Smash Bros. Brawl. They had us watching slideshows and pretending we had any control over what was actually happening on screen. You were blessed if you could even download some of these games I mentioned when downloadable titles became a thing, cause internet could be so bad at times. Of course, for many years we weren't just able to buy a console and download something on the same day. That wasn't happening without a memory card. Isn't it wild that I have to explain what that is now? A memory card is what it sounds like. An add-on product that you connected to your console in order to save your progress. Without one, well, good luck playing any JRPG ever or unlocking any characters. Bro, as a kid, you should have seen me trying to beat Kingdom Hearts, Smash Bros. Melee, and Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1 before owning a memory card. If you know the struggle of leaving your console on for a few days on end, then you know my pain. And memory cards were like 20 bucks. So as a kid, you were really sitting there like, do I save for a new game or do I finally get that memory card so I
Yeah, it's not as dramatic as it was. Maybe it was dramatic to him, but like, yeah, memory cards were a thing as well, yeah. But like, it wasn't like this. Like, the technology, like, we went from this to, like, it really went
beat
fast.
these old games? I was just lucky my uncle randomly decided to get me one day. And don't even talk about when the Xbox 360 sold a $100 hard drive separately if you didn't get the bundle.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Okay, so memory cards during the back in the day era, not too bad, huh? Can you explain me the fucking scam that is 100 memory storage on a console that costs $100? 100, like, can you explain me this fucking like scam? I never understood. It's 100. Do you know what the fuck is 100, like 100 gigabytes? Any fucking like USB key, like there are like fucking memory memory keys, like memory keys for like fucking cameras that are like more than that. And it's like, can you explain it in me, the scam? Like on this one, I really need answers because I never understood. The consoles, no problem. Consoles with a 100 gigabyte memory on plus €100 more. What the fuck? Can you explain me?
There's also the physical limitation aspect of gaming back then. Due to gaming downloads not being as accessible to the general populace, being new and sometimes not being available, we all
Just
typically had to go out and buy our games in the form of CDs or cartridges. If there was a lot of hype built around the game, there was actually a chance that you'd secure a console but had to wait to play the game you were looking forward to, if you could even get it. Cause when age ratings were enforced and you had parents that paid attention, you have to find a way around buying GTA as a 12-year-old. But let's say you're a smart kid and you decided to wait for a used game sale price drop.
Yeah, and you remember like the bad parents for letting their kids playing GTA in every game, like Halo, and the good parents for not. And actually, the reality is like the people who fucking like got parents that like let them play any game they want. They didn't get bullied, and the people that had fucking like parents that did have parents that didn't let play any game they want. They got bullied. Like, that's the reality of it. What can I tell you?
Well, that was a big gamble. Back then, whether it was getting a game used from a flea market, renting from Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, Redbox, or Gamefly, or trading games, there was a big chance that your game wasn't going to work when you finally got around to playing. I remember so many times, whether it was a used Smash Bros. Melee copy that I got from GameStop or rental games that I got from Gamefly, when I booted up and I was greeted by these cursed screens. Gamefly stung extra hard because that was a week of waiting to get a replacement or a different game through the mail. And the junk happened to me multiple times. Like, my dad was goated though, so when we had Blockbuster, he'd take me back the same day to get a replacement or a different game. Another funny quirk 2000s gaming had is that your console actually mattered. This was still an age of exclusive and console segregation, so your console selection was one of the
Some of your friends had a different console. You could not be as much friends as you wanted just because, well, there are the friends who have the same console. Like it was especially like I was an Xbox kid, like and a lot of people were like all into like PlayStation, and it's like, yeah, and you try to fucking be friends with them, and it's like they talk video games, and it's like, it's a shame that like I fucking play something else, you know.
biggest choice that you ever make. Whatever you pick,
Was never able to fucking become friends with them at the end of the day.
you'd be missing out on something big, unless you're me. Cause I remember my dad and uncle teamed up and got me the OG Xbox, PS2, Dreamcast, GameCube, and GBA.
Man, stay off the light speed.
My bad.
Anyways, every console not only had its exclusive games and hardware, but exclusive issues as well. But whether it was the 360's Red Ring of Death, Wii's trash online and weaker graphics, or PS3 having no games,
PS3 has no games.
nothing will touch the hellscape that was early PC gaming. Some will argue with me, but we cannot forget how horrible PC ports were back then. And these weren't just ports of some cousin game you never played.
And did you saw the fucking PC what they looked like back then? Yeah, right. Like I cannot even like.
Games like Grand Theft Auto 4 and Resident Evil 4 were released for PC in abysmal states and barely ran, crashing over and over. It took years before you went a year without hearing about some game getting botched on the way to computers. And when they came out perfect, it was celebrated. Oh, but PC had another thing that consoles didn't, and that's piracy. While Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation managed to mostly lock up, PC still had easy ways to get free mainstream games.
It felt so good to just try out that game and be like, I didn't pay a single fucking buck for this fucking game, and it runs, Let's go.
However, it was also easy to completely destroy your desktop while sailing those seas. See, we didn't have trusted torrenters at our command just yet, and sometimes that one download of Spider-Man PC would give you a heart attack until you scanned that virus off your laptop that your parents just gave you. Yeah, I know that was very specific, and it's because it came from experience. But there was one shared pain back then, and that was that every game eventually had to become dark, edgy, and adopt the piss filter for a good 5 years. But above every difference between gaming now and then, nothing hits harder than the general consensus in times when you weren't touching virtual grass, but the real life greenery. If you were around then and still are now, you're listening to this video, you know what I'm talking about, so I'll be blunt. It was not cool, normal, or really accepted to be a gamer back then. In fact, if you openly showed a lot of people that you gamed, unless you were a kid, you were looked at as the butt of the joke. This feeling was amplified by shows like Freaks and Geeks and especially The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, this is something that I talked about. Like, people did not understood what gaming was in its globality. What is gaming? It's basically like back then, before like Dungeons and Dragons. Like, it's kind of like the Dungeons and Dragons of like the new era. It's like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? And it's like, I want to explain to you, and you try to explain, people just don't understand.
Hunt white nerds and get them called Sheldon for decades by white moms everywhere. I think I used that joke in a video before. Gaming just wasn't mainstream, and despite coming so far, it wasn't celebrated like it is now. Adults said you were getting brain rot from playing games, and people your age said you needed to grow up. Unless you solely played Call of Duty or any war shooter like that, sometimes God of War and a few other exceptions like GTA, you were a freak until the world realized that it could commercialize nerd culture for stupid amounts of money. Those people who talk about getting bullied for playing games and watching anime weren't just saying it for internet clout. I saw what other people went through, and I can't pretend it didn't happen because it didn't happen to me. Now those same people that were bullies be running around and saying they've always been about it because it's big now. Okay, let me stop ranting. There were other problems for gamers back then, like not being able to go out and grab merch from your favorite title like you can now. I used to dream of owning Figma, Nendoroids, plush, and SH figure arts as a kid. Now I can just go to the store and open up Amazon and get one without even turning my brain on. The 2000s era was a time when gaming really felt like a secret club.
Yeah, it really did. And like back then, like clubs like sports club and stuff like that, it was like part of it. And to be fair, like I was like a shy one, so basically like I was always like always had like I was hanging out with chicks back in the day, so it wasn't really a problem, you know. And but like for other people, like oh my fucking god, and the console, like there are like so many people that like I could have had like could have became friends with them, and I never did because they played PlayStation and they were all about like Metal Gear Solid and all this stuff, and I was like I won't play these games. I don't have the fucking console. And the fact that like people were watching you as a fucking weirdo. Like remember like when people tell you go outside and it was actually like a concern, you know? It's like now it's like, yeah, go outside to do what? Look at the fucking economy, you know? Like but like yeah, it was really something special, you know?
You know, it was fun, you know.
Why is this game worth waiting up all night?
The game is worth waiting for because it's the entertainment system of the future.
And it wasn't always the easiest to get into. Now anyone can hop online in seconds, download something, and instantly be part of a massive community, which is great. Gaming's more inclusive, more global, and more accessible than ever. But something did get lost along the way. The chaos, the realness, the human touch. Back then, gaming had more heart no matter where you looked. We had connection problems, sure, but we also had a little more connection. You see what I did there? It feels like we've traded away a lot of that heart for convenience. Crossplay, cloud saves, instant access, but we also got microtransactions, early access scams, and billion-dollar publishers trying to sell us stuff that no one even asked for. But despite all that, it doesn't feel like the spirit is completely gone. In fact, I feel like if you look in the right places and with the right people, the spirit is there more than ever. And yes, that includes the chaos and foolishness that happens in rivals matches. Anyways, leave a like and sub if you enjoyed, and comment below some stories about your 2000s gaming experiences, and if anything here resonated with you.
This was a really great video. Thank you so much, Wisconsin97. Subscribe, leave a like if you liked it. It was really fucking dope. Yeah.